Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet, welcome to another episode of the Not Just Design Pod. I'm your host, Drones, and today's episode, I have a friend, I have a brother, I have a guy. His name is Precious. I call him Jackoo. That's some inside shit. Anyway, people know him popularly as Ghost Mark. He's a really cool guy, very chilled, really smart, and he's one of the hardest working people I know of. One of those people that you meet in life and you are glad that you had a conversation with them. We met in 2018, with Pastor JMB. So we have history together. We spent time together. I can't mention my stats in this tech space without telling a story that involves Jackoo. We're using really old crappy phone that could not even run Thermox. We were like hacking it to run it. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sorry for the long intro. As you listen, may you be blessed. Tell us like one liner introduction about you.
So my name is Chibuzo and I'm a software engineer. I think that should be like yeah.
As fast. That was really short and fast.
Yeah.
The people that I've had like on this podcast that have had like the shortest introduction end up being one of the most interesting conversations. So let's see.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Jackoo, I'll call you Jackoo Sha, is force of habits. It can't just go away. I don't know why. Welcome to the episode, welcome to the pod. So first of all, I want to like get the gist of guy has been, I don't know. You're staying Futoba.
For now, brother. For now.
Futa.
For now. Federal University
For
of
now. For now. So when you go finish like this, so we'll come sign
by June.
this thing.
By June next year.
Mad. Hey, God, Avik. Hey. So first of all, you shall never finish, but then like you are able to do so much, guy. Like we met in this event, that open source event, but like yeah, you have done so much. I was looking at your portfolio recently. The first impressive thing, like how are you able to document all of this? Right. For me, that's one very difficult thing. Like, how are you able to document all of this stuff that you have done? And then secondly, like how are you able to find yourself in all these places? How did you go from not being actively into tech to being like actively inside?
It's a long story. So I think I honestly started.
Start from the beginning.
I honestly started tech from a writer's perspective. Back then in 2020, before 2020, I was into like restaurants and all of that. Then in 2020, I went to Lagos. I was supposed to resume school then, so I went to Lagos, and then I was doing this writing gig for one new startup. My brother, he's like my cousin. So my cousin and his friend, they were building this new startup from scratch for a client, and then they needed somebody who knows how to write it. And then I was like very good at writing then, even at now. So I just had to become their makeshift writer. So after finishing, they were like, they need stuff. They need more stuff about it, something called API documentation. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I can learn quickly. That is one of my strengths. And then that my brother's friend was like, he is a backend engineer. He can tell me for a fact that API documentation is not something you just learn from anywhere. That you have to understand what APIs are, how they work, and all of that. Even if you want to even do a very good job at it, that means you have to also know how to like build APIs yourself. So I was like, okay, what do I need to know to start learning about APIs? And then he said I should learn Python, I should come into tech properly and all of that. So I was like, all right, because myself, I have this principle that the only thing preventing me from where I currently am and where I'm planning to be, or where I'm let me say destined to be, is just what I don't know at this moment. I am very much open to picking up learning anything at all that will just taken to the next level without too much beating around the bush or anything. I just started working on Python, used W3 schools, picked up Python. Then throughout that year, I jumped on HNG, this start.ng when, yeah.
What year was this?
That was 2020. That was i7, HNG i7, I think, yeah. I think,
2020, I remember.
I think it was i6, then 2021 was i7. I jumped on it and it was overwhelming. I just picked up Python. I just learned Flask. we were to work on something, and the people I was supposed to work with, my team members, I got promoted from team Falcons I was into team Incredibles, which is the best 100, 10, 10 each from each team. So that was in stage two. And then they were showing me, they were telling we were to submit a task by Saturday. And then on Wednesday, they were saying that we have to use Node.js for the backend instead of Flask again. And then I was like, this is too much for me. I have to drop out. And then I dropped out of
Ah,
HMD.
you gave up.
Yeah, because there's no way I can pick up JavaScript. It was Wednesday to Saturday. There's no way I can pick up JavaScript and then pick up Node afterwards in that space and then still do the task. So it was not possible.
Guy, your brain fit catch fire.
Yeah. So I dropped out. And as I dropped out of HNG, that was when I dropped out of tech, to be frank, because I wanted to learn JavaScript afterwards so that because I also have this principle of never making the same mistake twice. Like, don't be caught slacking twice. I wanted to learn JavaScript. So I just had to take a break. And the thing was looking confusing for me. It was not my kind of technology. So I just stopped. And as I stopped, that was when I stopped everything, like everything in tech, and then focused on resume.
This was still
Yeah,
2020 or
the end of
2021.
2020 towards 2021. So after that break, I just focused on research writing because that 2020 I wrote a master's thesis for somebody who was schooling in the UK then. The guy got like a very good score, 69 out of 75 for the project. Then I was like very confident. So when I came to school, I was looking for something to feed with. And tech, you have to take some time in it before you start like seeing profits, seeing rewards. Let's say ROI. You have to before you start seeing ROI from it. Yeah, I focused on research writing. And then at one point in 2021, I think that was during October, November 2021, went to Dev Fest. I think that was my first ever Dev Fest because I'm not that.
Yeah, that was my first too. I think we met there.
Uh,
Sorry to cut you. We met at that day
yeah,
first. That was my first day first too, guy.
so after that Dev Fest, I think that was when I now started taking tech seriously. I had a conversation with one guy, the guy who's supposed to be the GDSC lead for 2022 for my school. So it was we resonated on many fronts, and then it was like he would love me to be the co-lead for his team, so that we can continue talking. And I decided to take seriously because I know if I'm putting myself out there as a co-lead, I mean I'll be having like lots of DMs, lot of questions, lot of visibility and all. So I have to like live up to the name. So yeah, I jumped. So and I went back to Tech 2021. It was July 2021. There's this friend, this popular friend, Lord Ghost X. His name is Solomon Essengi. So it was like doing 30 days of Golang learning track. He wanted to like have people to be accountable with. I just jumped on it. Then jumped on it and we started learning Go together. From there, come and see people's speed. Like so the community was what brought me back into tech. And it was also community that pushed me further, like deeper. Like these guys, the Brimes, many of them, they were just writing code, building stuff. I was like
When you say community, do you mean like the GDSA community, like community out wide, or the community in your school or your close like
okay,
friends then?
you want like bringing me back into tech. It was the community. It was DevFest, GDG, like the Google students community generally. And then when in terms of like getting more serious with developing my tech skills and all, I would say it's also the community because as at then we were not really that friends. We were not like friends then. Although now we've like gone closer. But I would say tech gave me my closest friends now. As at then we're not friends. It's just like general community, like people we don't know just gathered in a group and then we start working on stuff, start getting more exposure. Yeah, that was 2021. Yeah, 2021. From there, 2021 July, I started like taking Golang seriously, learning about backend. I already knew backend from Flask, but all I could do then was APIs. If there's any like backend person listening to the podcast, then they should know that API is not backend engineering. Backend engineering is more complicated or complex than just developing or exposing APIs. It was through Golang I started like getting more depth into software engineering to backend, and then from there, I think it was ending of that same 2021 November that blockchain started.
Yeah, blockchain, Web3, all that stuff. There
So
was
it was
that
like
time.
then so the person that pushed me into tech now, that's 2020. The guy who always works on fintech systems.
Hmm.
So myself, naturally, you'd want to like emulate your. I'll call him teacher, in as much as he's just there when I need to ask questions. Take not everybody that goes through that process of having somebody to sit you down physically one on one and teach you. You just go and figure things out yourself. And then this guy was very ruthless. Like he would tell me,
Yeah,
don't use any frameworks.
yeah.
So is it framework like frameworks abstract a lot of things from what you're building? There are a lot of things that are happening behind the hood that you're not seeing that frameworks are covering up. And then when you go to like when you start working for a company, you realize that wow, I don't know what's happening here. And you actually know you know what is happening, but you can't explain why and you can't like emulate it without the use of external tools. So
Mm,
which is very yeah, that frameworks thing is very bad. So the guy like he brushed me up the hard way. So
that framework.
2020 that 2021 November was when blockchain started like booming. And to be honest, the only reason why I jumped on it was because as a demo was because my friends were jumping on it. So somebody explained, yeah,
Nice.
yes. To be honest, I think it's very important the kind of friends you have around you because they say friends can make or mar, like can make you or break you.
I swear.
They have so much power that we don't realize that it was talking about jumping on blockchain and all of that. That it's a nice technology, a new fresh start. Yes, he also had the same track record like me. He started tech, and then when he lost his dad, he stopped. So he needed like a new pacing because the back end space was like clogged. They look for 2 years, 3 years experience, but blockchain is just coming up. You can't be asking for that 2 years, 3 years experience for something that just came up. So we all needed that fresh, yeah, that fresh piece to stay, fresh page to start afresh. So we jumped on it. Many of us jumped on.
The things, okay, now during all this period, right? Were there other things that you had your hand into? Like, were you doing other things on the side? Like, say, were you still writing at this time?
Yes, yes, yes. I was in school trying to we studied IGMB together now. So
Yeah, yeah.
I came out with a good result. I came out with a good result. And then I was like very confident in what I knew. We were both going to 200 level IGMB. So I didn't know what to expect. And I was so confident in that result that I thought that I knew it all. I could like do anything school stuff, I kind of like doused it. I kind of reduced my seriousness with school then, just focusing on writing, making
Mm-hmm.
money, and all of that. So during that space of writing, that was when I got into technical writing. That was what helped me with paying rent, paying fees in school, living daily, and all of that.
So there's money there like this.
In technical writing, there used to be money. That's what I would say. There used to be money. Currently now it's oversaturated.
What happened?
And then I think also ChatGPT has reduced the amount of
Oh,
the
I
need
see.
for most technical writers. In a place where you when you be needing like five technical writers in a team, then you by now you just be needing like two
Mm,
because you just need somebody that understands
mm.
what you do.
ChatGPT has like taken the role
Yes.
of the other thing.
Yes. So, to be honest, ChatGPT. I think people are saying that ChatGPT is not coming for your job. I just laugh. I just laugh.
Even design, even
Generally, I think
design.
it's
Sorry
yeah.
to cut short. Even design is the same thing. I think it's more exactly like sorry, sorry. It's the same way with this chat GPT thing, technical writing. Because as a designer, right now we have generative AI that can come up with like arts and all that stuff. In the coming years, with all the excess UI designs we have on Behance, Dribble, on Figma
Yeah.
community, if you just tap an AI to learn all of that, it to be able to come up with a website that is really easy. That or you don't need five designers anymore, you just need like one person that sabi the process. That person will now organize the rest. Like everything will be easy. It's actually coming for our jobs. I say no
Somebody
cap.
said,
It will touch all of
I
us.
swear, somebody said, what AI can't do now, just give it time.
Guy,
Because
just give it
people,
time.
like, you don't know when to stop. Now we have ChatGPT, it's helping us, it's doing stuff for us. But then other people came up with the same idea. They've seen that, oh wow, this is how helpful and how lucrative a generative AI can be. Then let's jump into it. And then now we have, what's that one? Cloud AI that is hitting, that is shaming, like, should I say that, that pitched a tent against ChatGPT. And then we have many others. And I think, yes, I even tried that. Is it clip? I've forgotten the name. I tried it. My current DP now was generated by an AI, and it's so nice. It's so nice. So yes, it's actually
Guys, send the link for
uh,
me.
uh,
Make I run up.
as time goes on, I think people like to be safe. We just need to. It's something they call specific knowledge, something that society can't train another person for. That's what you have to train yourself on. Because if they can train somebody for it, that means they can train. So that 2021, that I think that's how it ended. Technical writing was my strength, and I was transitioning from the little backend I've learned into the blockchain space. So, getting into blockchain, learning Solidity, learning how Ethereum works. And the funny thing is, was that I think there was enough materials, but what I think is they were trying to get us, like most materials nowadays on the internet, they are trying to get you to focus on having a ready-made solution as soon as possible. Like for example, now you would easily see how to build a dashboard with Figma. You how to design an e-commerce website with Figma. The ratio of seeing this kind of resources or learning resources generally around how to build something that you can see sharp now with Figma. I don't know much about your space, but I'm very sure that it will be more compared to the user experience on Figma, the buttons, what they do, how they function, tricks on Figma, all those things. You would ready you would You'd readily find materials around building something ASAP than on how to actually understand that thing or how to actually understand
Yes.
UI UX.
Yes, I agree with
Like, I
you.
don't know if you get
I
me.
agree with you. Yeah, because the thing is, there is a flux. So this is my guy, Musa Obed, right? He's like a tech researcher and like a business person. So he has carried out
Yeah.
these reports on all these resources from the economics and McKinsey, and he was like, there's a flux. There's a huge flux of designers in the whole industry because it has been reportedly be like yeah an easy way to enter tech. So many people are there. And when you get to tech, when you get there, there's always teach what you know, learn one or two things, share your knowledge, put yourself out there. Now that's basically the first thing you start learning from your bootcamp. Teach what you know, put yourself out there, and that is good. But then it's like recipe for failure at the same time. That's the reason why we have so many people saying how to build a button in Figma in 2 seconds, how to do this in 3 seconds. A lot of people are just doing that based on what they learned in the bootcamp, not explaining the reason behind this is why you should put a button on this page and why you should not put a button here. Next, like all those trade-offs that you make, like okay, users necessarily don't need a button here. You just add a timer so the page just goes on their own. All of that is not being taught. At least for the most part, we can't see it everywhere. There are just few people. I know them like Eugene, Design with You, that they teach all those things. They are not being taught. I think it's generally in every space. I don't know if that happens like development side. If you guys experience people like that,
So
stuff like
much,
that.
so much. The reason why technical writing died is because people like influencers. I honestly I want to be the kind of person that mention names, but I just don't want problem for myself. That's why I don't mention names.
Yeah.
But there are influencers in this tech space that they'll be on Twitter spaces. They'll be saying with technical writing you can what's it called, with no code you can excel, you can make money in technical writing. How to be a technical writer, how to like I'm also trying to not be a what's it called,
Gatekeeper.
a gatekeeper into tech. Yeah, I don't want to be that. But technical writing is not for everybody. And also design is not for everybody.
Yeah.
Technical writing, people would think that is an easy way in, make money and cash out and come out. I think they just peddle that lie to try. I don't know why. Probably to gain influence, to gain followers and all of that. I don't know. Or maybe to gain more viewers, buyers of courses, more. I don't know. But it's not good. It's not good. And
I don't think it's a conscious thing. It's more like influenced on top them. It's what you said about people around you influence you. The most times when peer pressure works is when you are not noticing it. That is when peer pressure hits the hardest. And I think those guys are doing it because they are being influenced to do it by the people they look up to. When they are like, join here and then you cash out this, you do this. They are doing it because they saw other people doing it and other people are making followers and like, they will do the same thing. It's what we do in the industry, what we do in this space. So you just follow that suit. There is no individual thought of this doesn't make sense or this makes
I
sense
agree
this
with
way.
that. But even at that, people should just learn to take things more seriously, more deeper. I have this friend, although he's in front end, this guy was building a website when I went to his place just to visit. I think he's even coming to visit me this evening.
Mhm.
So the next thing he was just designing, and I was like, "Wow, guy, I like the color."
Nice.
Trust me, I know nothing about coloring. I did UI UX one time. That 2020. I was helping my brother, my cousin I was talking about, because the front end. Why the guy that brought it was the back end.
Yeah.
So part of the front end my cousin was doing was UI UX. So then he was picking Blender, and then I was like, so I can use it to animate. Let me learn Blender, and then he said I have to learn UI UX first. So I started looking up Figma and all that. Once I finish just once, I think they call it screen.
Yeah.
The moment I finished just one screen, when I considered how many errors it told me, I just said, guys, no, it's not for me. It's not for me. Let me go. Let me just leave me.
This is not for me.
Coloring, you'll now be understanding ash. This guy types ash 00555 and the thing will bring color. I said, God, I beg. No, no,
uh,
no, no, it's not
no,
for me.
I think that one is based on experience. He's already in this space, so he's like he understands the color code for most of the colors he uses. I have one trick that I use is many designers sometimes don't do this. They like to make things look beautiful, add plenty colors. I understand my own strengths and my weakness, so I stick with one color and one extra primary, one secondary color if at all there is a need. What, but just one color, and then I use that primary color all through, and then one secondary color, and then one font all through. Like I don't like having purple with blue and orange and try to make it splashy. No, I don't get that high energy. I swear, is so much stress. You just do the lazy thing that works, and I just move on. As long as I use one color, I can see pass the message. It's simple, it's minimal. More to the next place. So maybe say I go to do gradients.
Yeah. So that,
All your experiences, like I'm still talking from your portfolio. I saw some degrees there from MIT. I remember when you used to take all those MIT courses.
yeah.
How did you get them here? Like, how was that experience?
Okay. So it was like in 2022. I think my first there's this book. There are lots of books about like finding jobs in tech. There's a particularly popular one by one Greg O'Rose. Is a popular guy on Twitter, and it's called the Tech Resume Handbook. I think the very first time somebody was hired for a job should be at Uber. He knows this history. He interviewed lots of hiring managers and recruitment managers, big companies like Google and all of that. I think they even mentioned some Nigerian recruitment guys. That was one of the reasons why I even bought into the book. He explained a lot of things. And then he explained that when it comes to education, you really don't have to put like just your school, your BSc and all of that. I could also include nano degrees you took. Because where else on your CV would you put that you a Udemy course on, say, blockchain? It has to be on the education section because it is education. And then there are new movements like that campus 57 or something. I think it's in US that explains that when it comes to technological courses, education, that going to a normal traditional school is not like just the way we could use boot camps and all of that, and then include it as education in our CVs. So that was what I did. I was studying. I think that was the best word to I was studying under one platform they call Sirens Global. They granted us like access to places like Pluralsight, AWS, and many others. and then they give us like learning materials to learn. And then the best, they hire them for their startup. That was why I included it in the CV. Nano degrees and all of that are there. I clearly put them there. And yes, it helped me. It helped me connecting with people on LinkedIn because you know how LinkedIn algorithm works. When you show your interest in a particular company, or like you show your affiliation, your engagement, like you put it on your LinkedIn that you maybe you connected to somebody. LinkedIn starts suggesting people that are around that company or people that are friends with that person you just became a friend with. That's how it works. Like when I listed those things there, I started seeing more engagement. I think I got like loads of engagements from companies, got gigs from there and all of that. So it was nice. I think the last two places I worked was from LinkedIn, and it was just because of that thing. So it's very, very important in CV.
What did you do for them? What did you do for them?
For the more recent one, it was a blockchain company. It's Albon, a blockchain security company. So most of what I did was just like research. What they do is security audit, and it is way out of my capability. I can't audit a smart contract, even if I can, because of how insecure or how very dicey, very volatile it is. I cannot. I won't even allow myself to do it. So
Is
that
it in Israel? Is it
yeah
the one in
you
Israel?
oh, no, the one in Israel was like before. That one spanned like 2 years plus, give or take. That one was my first software engineering role. That one was just cloud native engineering. Yeah, it was also from the message me from there themselves and connected and then like that.
Agbabola. Hey. I'm interested in knowing the things that you do outside tech that, in a way motivates you or let's say keeps you in the right state of mind. Like it's one thing to be in tech and be a geek and a nerd and know so many things and then lose touch of maybe personal habits, things that make you a better human being aside just like writing code.
Okay. You know what you called me now, like in the beginning of the conversation. You called
Jackoo.
me Jackoo, which is something you know me to be.
Yes.
Yeah, I read it. Although then, like before you started calling me that, it was like just because of
Yeah.
school, academic reading and all of
Yeah.
that. But aside that, I read fiction, non-fiction, self-helps, all of that. I read books a lot. So
Interesting.
yes, one of my very, very big and yeah, big and should I say the most no, is it the most expensive hobby I have is reading. And it's so helpful for me because one of mine was like describing me to somebody else in my absence. And then he described me as somebody who has like very, very compounded computer engineering knowledge because I've actually done stuff that I'm like, wow, I did this thing, I built this thing. I've done stuff that it made sense, and behind me,
Like what? Tell me. Tell me.
like, okay, if you go on my GitHub, you'd actually see like really interesting projects.
Thank you very much for listening to this point. Please, I just want to just a short break. It's such a short break. I want to let you know about the next episode coming up with Tolu. Now, Tolu is the guy who started the BCB event, the one that held at Akurel early this year and also last year, and coming up again next year. It was a brand, consumer, and product event where we had amazing guys from Fuga and so many other companies come. Now, Tolu is the mastermind. Him and his team worked on all of this. I had a conversation with him, learning how he thinks, the kind of ideas that come up in his head, the way he reacts to things, what makes him the man he is today, and the kind of dreams that he's chasing. So it's a very interesting conversation trying to unlock the kind of environment that helps shape the way he thinks about things nowadays. Don't forget to like and subscribe to know when that episode is out. People of God, let's get back into this one now. Don't forget to check the link in the description for what's podcast newsletter. Peace, no, not peace, just get back. Bye. We'll see you at the end.
uh like crypto engine, like trading engines. I'm even currently working on building a blockchain from scratch in Go. I did it before. I've done it before, but that was when I actually lacked serious knowledge about blockchain. I think, yeah, I lacked serious knowledge about blockchain then, like because when you reduce stuff, I don't know. Have you ever written something and then you come back a month later and you read the thing, and then it looks like absolute trash.
Yes.
Exactly.
Ye-
Yeah, it happens to me too a lot, even in code. When I was like, I actually did that before, although I didn't finish it up. I have a problem with finishing side project. I went back to it last month or this month, I can't remember, and then I started afresh, like using a new pattern to do it, and then it was making even more sense. To learn something, you have to know something else, and that was why I had to like start building one from scratch just to understand the communication method behind nodes of the blockchain.
yeah,
So
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, that's
Let's talk about your book club. How are you able to? Well, you are interested in reading, like you love it, so you have to manage it. But how are you able to manage all your routine, like your book club, writing, coding? Like, yeah, you talk about Rust all the time on your status. Like, if somebody ever mentions Rust anywhere, you are the first person that comes to mind. Like, I just picture you in my head. Okay, yeah, Jackoo writes Rust. Like, how are you able to manage all these things, guy? Like, especially coming from like the book club angle, where you keep posting books and like helping
um,
people get all this stuff. It's very
so
interesting.
I think books it became a part of me that I cannot jeopardize. It's like let's say something as relatable as music. I know I'm using music because I know how much you love music. I was even listening to your Jackoo guy like before this call.
Nice.
So, music for you is something that you do alongside your daily activities. You listen to music, and then music requires like you listening actively. Maybe you're listening to a music or you're listening to podcast while working. It's the same thing. You need to be mentally conscious of what you are doing as you are reading, as you are working, like of what you are hearing. So the lyrics you're paying attention to it and all of that. That's the same thing with how reading works for me. Like I just have to read. If I see that, oh wow, I've been on this laptop for so long, let me just take a break. That break is just to jump to my bed because I can't lie to you. I'm living a very sedentary lifestyle, which is from bed to workstation chair and back to bed again. So
Uh,
yes, I know why you're laughing because you're partially guilty. I think you're fully guilty yourself. You
yes,
live the
we
same life.
got that day. Guy, we got it.
Okay.
See, that's basically my life. I was working on a video that I wanted to post. Because I was like, what's my routine like? But then I like, my routine is simple. I wake up from my bed, cover myself in duvet, and then go straight to like the first thing that comes to mind is my chair. Like what's happened that I have missed out on. I just go straight to my chair. And sometimes I still cover that duvet. Like I open laptop, okay, check. After like 2 hours, then brush, come back, check. When it's like 2:30, go and eat, come
Yeah.
back. Like guy.
That's how it is for me too, and that's like this for like most of us. Although I don't think it's good.
It's not good though.
So is it? Yeah, I think yes. It was 2021. I decided to start a book club. I've been wanting to belong to like a kind of intelligentsia. I think that's a word for it. Yeah, like a community, a group where I can be introverted with other introverts. I can be socializing with other introverts, like people that won't stress me too much. It's partially because of that my GDSC lead, Steven, and I actually took on that idea to just like launch it. So I just did the book club and then got people to join and all. And honestly, Friday nights I won't because when I remember that on Saturday I have to go to book club meeting, I'd be like Friday night. Oh my god, I should not have started this. But anyways, yes, so I gotta get up. I gotta go. During the meetings, I'd be like, oh wow, thank God I didn't stop this thing. It's making sense. It's some weeks, some months. It's usually the only nice activity that happens in my life. Then I also have this very important. It's a tech accountability group. We are just 12 there. We usually don't pass 10, but we just added two extra people because of their renown. What we do there is quarterly meetings, just calls, check on each other. We just talk about what we've done in the past half quarter and what is new with us in terms of tech, and then what we are going to be doing for the next half quarter and the rest of the year. So we plan the entire year, and then at the end of the year, we write year in review. just like most tech people do. So all those things, those activities I partake in, once in a while, going out with the guys, going to splurge that little money again.
Yeah.
I think everywhere here in Abuja, all the restaurants, I'm a fan of food mostly. All the restaurants here have like covered them, looking for more to cover too. So that's majorly my activity. Yeah, that's majorly my activity outside this chair. This friend of mine said something that I think everybody should consider. I was always saying I want to start this new business idea. I want to do something. I want to do this or that. And then when I finish planning all the ideas, time when it comes to time to like execute it and fall back on it. So she was now like she realized that all we ourselves that work as like tech people, anything outside this chair, once we have one dealing outside this chair, it's usually very hard for us to do it. Maybe a business idea that requires us being outside, at least for long. We don't want to do it. In as much as we think it's important or we think it's a nice idea and all of that, we just don't want to do it. We tend up not doing it at all. So she just told me that why not look for a way to bring those ideas on your table? Like instead of it taking you outside, why not bring it inside? Media, blogging, all these things, all the business ideas I had now, I've been looking for ways to bring them back instead of taking me outside, bringing them back into
Yeah.
this chair. Yeah, I hope
What kind of business? What are those business ideas that you do? That those no, well, what are those side businesses that brings you extra cash income? Like now, let's talk about the money aspect. I know you are good with money, Abi. Or am I wrong? You're so good with money and like making income.
I
So
did some kind of like economics, personal economics study. Yeah, okay. So the business ideas I have, I think I there's this Naval book, The Almanac of Naval, a computer engineer with economics background. It's Naval. Naval is very popular on Twitter. From there, I just debunked. I had interest in starting a food business. Because of how lucrative food businesses are, and yes, so it's very lucrative. I think I worked for that restaurant for like 2 years. I learned a lot, and then I wanted to. When I came to Funab, I actually wanted to put it into practice, like make money off it. Yeah, but takes too much time. It's not actually take. The thing was, I was starting to taste the foods around the area to know who to compete with and who to avoid, and then what to do. And then I got addicted, and then I just started eating out. That was why I didn't start up. You don't catch me. So aside that, I wanted to do a bookstore. Like we lack tech books here in Nigeria. We lack tech books. O'Reilly Publication, Pakti, all of that. We lack them. So I wanted to leverage my friends who are like abroad to supply me books, and then I spoke with this guy Felix Ayola Buluatife from OAU. That design. Yeah, I spoke with him because he I don't know how was it, but he usually has tech books for his community. So I spoke with him. I don't remember what he said, but it was so long ago. But I was the one that was not serious. So I dropped the idea too. And then more ideas came that I also dropped. Now I just focused on just media. That's what I want to focus on now. It's not like I've even started. I just concluded that this is what I want to do and this is how I'll go about it. So when I just
when you
probably
say media, like what do you mean?
teaching tech. Like currently now, one of the most lucrative side income stream I have is teaching Go, teaching ROS, teaching distributed systems. I think I'm even setting up a course with this popular platform, educative. So all of that,
Let me
there are
pitch to
things
you.
I yeah.
Let me pitch to you. So I have a company. Is we help creatives like you, right? Make it easy for you to create stuff. So we take all the heavy loads aside and just make you create. So you don't have to worry about, for example, this is your course, right? You don't have to worry about editing the course, making it all look nice, all that process, the sound work that involves editing. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to like the technicalities of the platform that you want to use. Say, okay, this is the next course that will come after this course. This is where this will come out. You are a technical person. You can explore and just play around it yourself. It's in front of you. It's one of your chair. But if you have other things that you're busy on, you can export that stacks, to us, and then we'll just help you do all of that. Our major work is basically the editing aspect. The add-on is okay, you want to post on this platform, okay, we can help you handle that. That's just an add-on. But the major shit like with the editing and then the research that comes before the course. We know we can't do all the research. It's like it's your own course. You know what you want to teach, but we make it easy. Like we'll just come in and step in when necessary, and like okay, this is what we can help you with, that kind of thing. So basically, that's what the company does. But it does just not for courses. We do that mostly currently for podcasts and YouTubers, basically.
We'll discuss more about it. I think
Yes.
I've created a YouTube handle, but I don't know how you guys. The technicality I actually suck at that, so I don't know. I've actually explored like, oh, I can't just figure out or decide or anything. So I think yeah, we'll discuss more about it.
Okay, no worry. When you're ready, we just talk about it and how to get it all set up. We want you to have an easy way of like
Okay.
creating. So creators focus on creating, and we just handle every other thing. Simple, easy peasy. Like we're approaching the end. I don't have a choice. You're approaching the end. I'll love to ask a ton of other questions, but I don't want this to span more than 1 hour. If not, I don't know if
Sure,
it's
sure. Fire down, fire down, fire down.
makes sense.
If time permits, you can fire down.
Nice. That means we'll change platform then. Once my recording here ends, I'll have to send you another link. But that will not be an issue anyway. I'm trying to learn from you, right? Jackoo, how do you manage your relationship with people? Yeah, you do a lot. You read, like reading can take hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, just engross, and then you come back to Rust and
Okay.
code. How do you then
Uh,
manage your relationship with people
so
around?
initially, I think let me start like this. It is very important that we communicate with people. There's this book, Work Pre Code, that talks about how work in Silicon Valley, code and all of that has started like eating into our family, friendship, and religious life. And it's actually worth considering. There was somebody I was supposed to date in 2020, and the reason why we didn't go ahead with dating was just because my communication sucked. You can blame tech for it. Yeah, that was that start HNG period. Yes. It didn't work out. So I'm the kind of person, like I said, I have that principle of not making the same mistake twice. So I asked her that what can I do? What did I do wrong and how can I improve before she left? I always do that. So she told me I have to work on my communication. I was like, done. God's so kind. The one of the places I work, I met this friend. She lives in the UK, Nikki, and she turned out to be my best friend. So we moved from talking on work meetings and all to becoming very close friends. Even when we both left the company we met on, we still maintain that friendship. We work on the same thing on Google Meets back then when Google Meet lasted for days, not just 1 hour. We started talking then. Through I started building my communication skills. We that are like software engineers and tech bros that think logically and all, we tend to not have very strong emotional intelligence. We lack a lot there. We are good logically and all of that, but emotionally, we suck. So I don't know how to console a bereaved person. Like when, say, somebody loses a relative or something, it's not. I just learned recently that you don't just go there and say sorry. You don't just go there and say stop crying because that's the only thing the person can do at that moment. So all these things were new to me. I just started, yeah, it's very important that people learn it. So I just started learning all those things. It was through that friend of mine. So she happens to be a very, very emotional and communicative person. So she improved that aspect of me a lot. That was one way. And then two, tech, we do a lot of meetings and all of that. So just the way we talk with people, I have this accountability group where we talk. So we do meetings and all that. We talk to each other. When one person is down, he calls the other. When one person has problem with code, he calls the other. From there, and I think what also helps is that we most of my friendships are around tech. So if I miss your call, if I'm not being a good friend, you understand because you probably are not also being a good friend too. So, but when it comes to family and relationships, that's where they are like lapses, especially with family. Because my relationship, I'm like close to the person I'm with. Like we are physically close to each other, but my family, they are far away. So with relationships and all, I'll just say I'm trying my best. It's not 100% working. There's usually this tension with talking when I'm saying I'm working, stop calling, don't call, all of that. Instead, text me or something. I'm in a meeting, all those things. It causes issues, and then it makes them feel as if so I'm now the jobless one. Or okay, so I'm now the one that is less busy, or that don't have causes issues. But there's this kind of wisdom you would use, and one of these like the one big thing I do is I include that person in my work life. I let you know in my free time when we are together. I'll tell you that this is what happened at work today. Oh. This is how things are. Oh. I'll be having a meeting with so personal and all of that, so that you would know beforehand, and then you know how hectic this thing actually is. Not like it's hectic. I won't say it's hectic. I'll say you know how busy schedules can be, and you would understand. You even plan yourself. Yeah, you plan your tomorrow, next tomorrow with what you now know about my schedule. So like that. That's how I do it nowadays. But the big thing is just that I'm thankful for is just that most of my friends they are all in this tech space. So the guy that thinks you are ghosting him or that you're not being a good friend communicating with, that guy was also he's also having his own
Yeah.
issues, so he
Yeah,
understands.
that makes sense. I totally agree with that because all of us in this text would have the same thing. Like you would be neck deep inside one work, you've not come online, you've not posted on WhatsApp in a while because you're just trying to figure out how this thing would work. And somebody is trying to reach out to you. In your mind, you're like, chill, I'll get to you, but like, let me finish this thing. You get? And they will probably not understand. Well, if they're in tech space, they're easy to this. It's for them, if they're in tech space, their hand is inside something else as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So they will know that, okay, this guy is, this hand is deep inside something. They will understand even better. One thing that works, I've seen that it works, right, is being on call. Like you could just call the person on WhatsApp and just be on the call. You don't have to say anything. Like, trust me, it's like jazz, right? You don't have to say anything. Just be on the call there and just try and get comfortable being there without saying anything. It's it's more, I don't know how it feels, but like it's just calming. Like it just makes that relationship there. Like, okay, we got that day, but I know I'm busy. You
Yes,
know I'm
I
busy, but
do.
we're just here. You can just put your
Like
AirPods
so that
inside. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I
Works
think
like
the
magic.
longest I've been on a WhatsApp call with somebody is 8 hours. Like we had breakfast,
Mad.
we moved, we had like we were just there. I do it often. Like nowadays, honestly, that's what I work with because I just hang my phone on this phone stand and then I focus on the laptop and that's it. So when somebody is texting me and I'm like seeing lots of messages, either you send a VN or just call.
Yeah.
Like even now, when before we jumped on this call, I just be like, please don't call directly. Just call the WhatsApp call and I'll pick. That's just it. That's what saves me, honestly. So you're right on that one. Just be on the call. Just stay there. Yeah, and I learned it from that my friend.
That makes sense. Since we're talking about relationship, moving from that, Jaco, what's the dream for you, guy? Like, what do you want?
What I want. Uh, I think that's a very deep question that I've asked myself like multiple times, and I can't really make headways. I think I'm still too young to decide what particularly I want to do. I have like ideas of things that interest me and things I might consider like taking seriously in terms of career like vocation. Currently now my sorry, I didn't get you.
No, I was like what? Like what? You were going there already, Sha.
With my job, I believe there are four ways to look at the things we do. We have a job. It's not necessarily something you love. It's just something that pays you enough to fund a career. So now we have a career, and a career is something you went to school for. So it's called like an academic career. Although you don't necessarily have to go to school, but you need to get a formal education for it. You go from BSc to MSc and like that. The job, whichever it is, as long as it pays enough to fund your career, it's fine. And then third, we have hobbies. We have things that you use to pass time when you're not working and when you're not like exploring your career. For example, maybe you love singing, maybe you love hosting podcast shows like you're doing, or just anything at all that has to be like a hobby. And then finally, we have a vocation, and that's something you are doing or that you will later do that nobody else will do in this life. Let me just, you are probably destined to do it. You're destined to figure out an element. You're destined to fly the first set of people to Jupiter. Anything is essentially vocation. So wherever you get the experience from to do your vocation, it doesn't actually matter. So for me, for these four, software engineering is my job, and in my job, I'm looking towards taking distributed systems more seriously. Distributed systems involve both blockchain and core backend. So I'm taking distributed systems very seriously for my job, and I want to teeter towards financial systems. We have all kinds of backends, all kinds of projects, but the ones that will remain, the ones that are very close to money and will remain in existence for years to come is finance systems. All these streaming services like Spotify, Netflix, all of those, yeah, they just came to the picture some decades ago. When holography as the technology comes, they probably would leave. I don't know, but I want to be as close to the money as possible and finance where I can be. That's for my job. Yeah. Then for my academic career, I'm currently studying mechatronics engineering. So that they can't do robotics in undergraduate, so they just call it mechatronics. I'm kind of very serious with embedded systems, and currently now I'm in the verge of like starting up something called tiny ML, tiny machine learning, which is how to make machines, embedded devices smart. Embedded devices, those things, those okay, you actually study electronics, so you probably know those things better than I do. I feel the level of smartness, I feel the level of smartness we have in our day-to-day gadgets are not smart enough. Lighting systems, they just come on when you walk into the house. You move in, and the lights come in, and when you leave the room, lights go off. That's the highest smartness we can get from light as of now. But our AI is like advancing, and we are not actually looking towards how to use this new advancement in our day-to-day lives outside computers, outside generative AI like ChatGPT and all of that. I'm currently like exploring what to do around that area. Assistive technologies, that's what I want to, that was what I focus on my careers. And then my hobbies, I plan to maybe later in life, don't later in life, I plan to have like probably the biggest bookstore in Africa. I also plan to maybe like a restaurant business, something. Things that I want to do now that I'll probably look into later. Those are the things I'll consider my hobbies because food and books they are my bigger parts of my hobbies. And then for vocation, I really think I have something I'm called to do that I know about now. I don't know about it yet. So maybe with time.
Yeah, you said interesting things here. Let's go back to you being closer to the money as much as possible. Like when you say closer to the money as much as possible, where are you saying that from? Like, is it that you think the money is not where you are right now, or the money could move to somewhere
Oh,
else?
okay. I was hinting on this. Naval, I also quote him. He said you can't get rich renting out your time, like working for somebody. You can't get as rich as you plan to be by doing just that. You have to own a piece of a business. You have to own a part of a business. If I can't build a startup, and one thing I can do is own a part of a startup, then from there scale. So yeah, I think in software engineering generally, when you are going for jobs, there are some places, especially in startups. I recently just discovered that going through to like for beginners to start finding tech. Yes, there's LinkedIn and it's useful and all of that,
Yes,
but
yes,
Y
yes.
Combinator, the platform, there's a job search feature platform, yeah.
Yeah,
So people can just onboard. So those startups they usually give equity. They give a part of their business. If it's a blockchain startup, they usually have token and there's something
yeah,
called ICO, initial coin offering, where they can give developers of that project a considerable amount of tokens for the blockchain. Either of these ways,
But
whether it's
then,
on
like, there are other things to consider when you are talking about like ICU and collecting tokens. This is just in the premise of blockchain. If the startup doesn't blow and the token does not become valuable, like you've lost, right? You've lost. Like, I don't know. Now, this could be an argument. If you have, a point to give, please don't hesitate. I don't know, but the blockchain thing, I think there's so much not understood around it. There's just a block that I'm like, what will I do with all these tokens? I have two, three,
yeah,
four, five different tokens. Will all of them become valuable? No, definitely not. This doesn't seem valuable. Like, it doesn't seem like maybe I'm not seeing it on the long term. Will correct me, but it doesn't seem
okay,
like that.
you are very much in the right. You are correct. I think the same thing happens to startups. Normal in the Web 2 space. Let me say in the traditional space, the same thing happens. You can join a start because startups are just experiments. I was reading one book. I think the book title was
Mm-hmm.
Rework, and then it said reasons why startups fail is because the founders don't look at it as a business. If you look at your startup as a business, you probably will not fail because businesses are not created to fail. They are not experiments. You have to win or die trying.
Interesting.
Yes. So for startups, it's just an experiment. You have a new idea. Maybe there's just a slight difference. And some startups that are built by developers, like normal software engineers, which is what's actually like most startups,
Yeah.
blockchain space. What they end up doing is just maybe they are trying to solve a problem that Web 2 is solving, but not doing effectively, not doing fast or something. So when they start this project, it's usually something very negligible they are trying to solve. So you would know from scratch that there's nothing compelling. No, there's no very big selling point about this thing, and it's most likely going to not scale for years. It's not going to stay for long. Or maybe you have a huge competitor. Say something comes around as like PayPal now.
Yeah.
People will swallow that thing.
Yeah.
You have to
One
come
time.
differently, like the way deal. Yeah, you have to come different. Just like that. It's like Amazon. Amazon, does it have a competitor in a global space? It should, I think. But Amazon, their difference. Amazon has book sales. Amazon has a cloud website and all of that. So there's nothing like Amazon because if you come up like that, you will get swallowed up. That's
I
just
think
the fact. So
eBay
that's
has a
what happens in
chance.
eBay.
Sorry, for Amazon, I think eBay has a chance, but eBay is not optimized to work in Africa. So, and Amazon works in Africa, and I think that's the difference. Most of these big guys do not optimize their business to work in Africa. Maybe because it's difficult for them to work in Africa. I will understand. But like, take a look at Facebook. Facebook does not do payouts in Africa. Instagram no payouts in Africa. YouTube is the only platform that definitely does payouts that can pay Africans directly. All other platforms they don't. Highest they do is optimize for South Africa, Egypt, and the rest of us are on our own. That's the highest. If I thought they had to start, I think. Well, that's just in regards to say competitors to those big guys. That's why they are, and the other thing is that they are taking losses. They are taking huge losses. So there's this thing that boats for a while. I don't know if that's still happening there. This is a tangent, by the way. Flutterwave is a Flutterwave is like the client for boats in Africa. So they collect boats money from Nigeria, ship it to Kenya, I guess, and Rwanda, and then convert it to US dollars where it's more valuable, and then send it back to them. So if the money they are making from Africa is not up to half of the money they are making running their companies in Europe, because the currency difference is not much, so they're not losing more. But we are running the same business here in Nigeria. You're charging us high. You're charging us the same price so that you can reduce the margin of loss when you are converting the money to dollars. If it doesn't make sense, if that number doesn't make sense, they rather pull out because to them it's not worth it. For example, if boats carry somebody in the US for like $2, 10 kilometers, and then boats carry somebody here in Nigeria for 2,000 10 kilometers, they convert that $2 to 2,000, and they're like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they are losing times two by running their business here because the dollar is more than the naira, and the distance Using the dollar and the
Wow,
naira is
that makes
doubling
that
every
makes sense.
single month. So they are just losing. I think that's one of those reasons why these businesses don't optimize for Africa. Since
I think we got over the point where I was talking about how the coin offering and all that also like kind of applies in the equities normal web to startup scheme. It's apparently the same thing because the startups might rogue, not like rogue. It might go down as an experiment. It might not fail. It might end, and then when it ends, the equity, what happens to it? If there's no money to share, then the developers or whoever was given equity has also lost in a sense. So that's like the same thing with what happens like in the blockchain space too. So in the blockchain space, the coins they don't leave. That's one thing. I When I first invested in this crypto they call Shiba, I had issues with it. As at then it was blowing, but at one point it just stopped. It was not coming up again. And what I did was I just left it. And since then, Shiba is still Shiba. It's still a very valid coin. It's still there and everything. It doesn't go. So that's the same thing for tokens. Once created, you can always leave them to just be on their own there. Yes, that's my plan basically. Just be close to the money.
where is the money now?
The money,
Where is the money now? You say you want to be close to the money
I need to be
as
close.
as possible, right? You want to be as close to the money as possible.
Yeah, like
So like right now,
yeah.
are you
I mean
uh
that
go on. Go
financial
on. Sorry.
systems, blockchain, they interact with money. Yes, compared to say Spotify, a streaming platform, a chat application, a chat platform, or all those kind of companies. There are different types of companies, but finance companies are the ones that like my eye beckons on like very easily. If I'm writing a cover letter for a normal startup that maybe just does like cloud services or something, I will not be very very enthusiastic. But when I'm writing a cover letter for or I'm applying to a role for a financial company, I do it with happiness. I'll be like, I, it's- I just go, hi, I'm the engineer you're looking for. Whatever you put on your thing, your job listing, it clearly like matches my experience and my interest and everything. You can take a look at like I'll just be flowing when I'm writing in a place of like happiness or like excitement that wow, this is yes, exactly. So that's what I mean by like staying close to the money. The finance systems, blockchain systems, I just be around them.
Okay, that makes sense. So in when you mentioned about career, you said something about the systems we have now are not. Sorry that I cut you short. Do you, please go on.
No,
Complete what
no,
you wanted to
okay.
say.
I just wanted to say if I actually wanted to like chase where the money is, I think the money is around AI, around currently now. That's what everybody is going because the money is where the trend is. The trend is at AI. If I wanted to, yeah, that's where I'll focus on. But I'm not really like following trends and all. I want to play long term games
Yeah.
with long term people.
I think AI in a specific region will be long term and in a specific region will be short term. So AI for like this is my speculation, right? AI for things like the mundane things that we do right now that are using AI for, like AI for generative arts is definitely going to be a long term thing, but like not every tool will have it. AI for editing is going to be a long term thing. But AI for writing is going to, like in my opinion, is going to change. Right now we copy paste in ChatGPT. Like it's not going to be like that. It's going to change in the sense that it would be integrated into more platforms so that we don't have to copy paste. It just feels normal. So take for example, you're sending me a message on WhatsApp. You don't have to go and paste whatever it is. You just have to, like, send me a message. Google whatever. Google keyboard can just say, oh, do you want to send a message or you want to send a cover letter to this person, and then generate a cover letter ASAP in the chat and then you send to the person. So I think that's how it's going to be for long term AI. I don't know. What are your speculations like in terms of long term AI, short term
If we
AI?
look at, I think somebody said it's easy to predict the future if we look at the past. And from the past, everything that comes, they are always here to stay. Like every technology that comes is always here to stay. we must always find a use case for it. So I believe yes, AI is here to stay. It has like a lot of potential. I also still believe that it's still in the experimental phase. In as much as it's doing great things, it's still in the experimental phase. There's still lots of possibilities that are that will surface with time. So I can't really predict because yeah, because I'm not really like very active in build. It's someone that is actively building in that space that will be in a better position to see what's possible and all. But from general future science possibilities and all of that, yes, I believe AI is going to continue morphing, evolving, coming closer. Like human computer interaction is going to keep like coming closer to the point where in our daily lives, uh, we interact with AI, we speak with AI, and they learn from us. Like I'm very interested. Like the aspect of I think this is now teetering towards the question you wanted to ask me about the smartness we have, the level of smartness we have in our day to day like systems.
Yeah, yeah.
In 2021, I had the privilege to write an article for a company called Revolver that is based in Germany, Berlin. What I wrote about was, I think that was one of my very first writing gigs. It was about the future of machine learning in embedded systems. The scenario I painted was, imagine you wake up in the morning, and then when you wake up, I know, like you go to work, and then you came back from work. Your house maybe is one of these nice houses in Lekki that they call smart homes. You get into the house and the light come on. I mean, the sensors when they are, is it proximity sensor now? It says that, oh, there's somebody here, and then in this room, and then it comes on, and then once you leave the room and you walk to your bedroom to change your clothes and all, the light in the living room goes off like that. That's what we have. At one point, we humans, like we will consider that we humans are people that we don't like sleeping with the lights on. So assuming you came home from work, you are very tired, and then you get into the living room and then you sleep in the living room. Like instead of walking to your room like the normal this thing, you come inside the living room, the lights come, there's a human presence detected, and then you sleep in the living room there. The lights will stay on because it's still detecting your presence. But then, assuming we have really intelligent systems, assuming that light now is a very like it's actually intelligent, like it's smart, not just like the conventional definition we have for AI. Assuming it's smart, it should be able to detect that yes, so somebody's in this living room, so I need to put the light on, but the person is sleeping. I can detect that oh, yes, this is a sleeping pattern, and the person's eye is closed and everything. So let me put the light off. So in as much as a presence is detected in the living room, then I will just have to go off because the person is sleeping, and I've collected enough data to know that this person, yeah, like the person loves sleeping with lights off. I mean, there are also people that don't like it. They are scared of the dark or something.
I know how that work. Let me explain. So there's a startup or a product called Eat Sleep. Have you heard about them before? Eat Sleep. Nice. Let me
No,
explain.
if you
This is my
say it
shit.
doesn't
So
shout.
Eat Sleep is like it is a startup or it's a physical product that they sell. It's a bed. They sell you a bed, right? But the bed is connected to a kind of system that controls the temperature of the bed. So it can be cold. You can cool it up before you come and sleep. So when you sleep, you know you sleep and then you can warm it up. So in the night, what makes us sleep better is if the bed is cold, we cover ourselves with duvet, we're going to sleep smooth, right? And then towards the night when it's like real cold from outside, the bed now start warming up. You get, and then you can then wake up, and the bed can even vibrate. You can set an alarm. It can vibrate, wake you up. It can set two sides of the bed, so you and your partner, you can have different temperatures, different vibrations to wake you up. Now that is for a bed, right? I'm imagining its sleep is connected to Apple Watch, like normal Apple Watches now that can track your sleep. So this is just for a sleeping use case now. You come back from work, you have a bed in your house, you just lay down your bed, you turn on the TV, and you sleep off. Your Apple Watch detects that you're already sleeping because it's strapped to your hand, right? And then automatically sets up your automation for your eight sleep. Your eight sleep temperature now increases and allow you to sleep better. and then your light in the room, which is
Yeah,
connected to that
yeah.
system, understands that, oh, the Apple Watch just told me that, okay, this guy is sleeping. Let me dim the lights down. You get, and he dims it down. And since it's connected to your TV, your Netflix will just stop playing, and everything will just pause because you are sleeping. You get. Now that's a dream world. Like, that's a utopia in my mind.
I get your point. I think we all think about this thing. We all think about these things like we share thoughts about it, but nobody is like jumping on it or
It will
something.
be hard.
So yes, it's similar. I think your method is another way to achieve it. Although I give the lights and all as just like an example of what's possible, and that one is like very close to the person. But like generally, I was thinking about the concept of a smart home. I
Yeah.
use the lighting system. I could also use the refrigerator system. Say you have a phone, there's an app. It's a smart refrigerator. How I'll define it is something that it has an internal temperature sensor, and then when the temperature reaches a particular percentage, there's no point actually consuming electricity trying to make it even more cold or just to keep things cold.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, things get frozen and then we have to defroze. Like that's why that word defroze exists. We need to defroze things when they get frozen. So that's like waste of electricity. So instead of wasting that much electricity, we could just have a temperature sensor in the inside the fridge that works two ways. One, it is interfaced with that smart system. I don't know if you've seen this movie, Heart of
Mm,
Stone, that came out recently on Netflix. No, yet you should. So, but then the general plot of having a particular
mm,
control system, like okay, you're familiar with Marvel, so you should know. Is it Megatron, Ultron, Ultron? I think it's Ultron. A particular control system, yeah, that is able to control everything in the world, like that concept, that plot.
yeah. But then the problem will not be privacy, and then it will not be owned by one corporation. That
No, this one now is not like for the world. This one is just for the. So it's you have a particular control system, just like your power supply system. But what this one does is it's interfaced with IoT, is interfaced to like the cloud and everything, so that you can control it from your phone. You are the one doing the control. It just collects data, and those data are not your privacy. In as much as if it's possible, it can learn about you, your favorite song. When you are moody, it could just decide to play a song for you, like that particular system, or it could just collect data from that fridge, detect that okay, the drinks have approached minus 20 degrees or minus 10. Let's conserve energy. Let's put it off. That means you can check it on your phone and be like, okay, turn off the fridge. You can turn off the fridge by yourself. But you can also like the fridge or that particular control unit that controls the entire house can see that okay, yes, this is 20 degrees Celsius, minus 20 degrees. Let's put off the fridge. And then it does it by itself. So that's what I see in a smart house, in a future smart house. And all the
advertisers will be happy. I swear.
yeah, yeah. All the systems, all the things that are being built like now, none of them is like really approaching that area. And yes, it's AI. It's AI. Thankfully, I'm currently working, interning under IoT company that works around power. So I'm kind of like studying a lot at the side around all these things, so that I can figure out how to go about like. So yeah, that's my idea of smartness in career space.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that's a very cool way to think about it. Let me send you a link to somewhere that you would love if you are interested in the AI stuff. So it is Hugging Face. Do you know
Yes,
Hugging
yes, yes,
Face?
I do. But like, I just know it as as a term. I don't know what.
Okay, so it's like an AI community of different models, spaces. Like, people are doing crazy stuff there, and they're just writing documentation about it there. So all the AI shit that I know is because I'm just reading documentations. They are really technical documentations, but they are easy to understand. Like, you're a technical person, so it's easier for you than me. But it's geeky, it's nerdy, and it's super interesting. So I just go there. I just read like how they you build this transformer to this transformer, and then how they are working. So you can just like, I just spend my time there on Hugging Face. It's really nice. Um, Speaking of AI, there's there's this tool, and it's not a tool right now, but in terms of editing space, you can sell your digital copy. So there's this movie, Joanne is Awful. It's a Black Mirror series. So Joanne is Awful, whereby they have digital creators. Like the characters of the movies are not real. They are not the real characters. They're not like James Bond. What I say, Robert Downey Jr. acting as Iron Man. No, it's a digital made character of Robert Downey Jr. that looks real. That is acting the Iron Man script. But that's how the movie is. Like the woman is seeing herself act see somebody else act as her daily life and everything around it, but she's not the person. But the person is getting every single thing accurate that what she did and all that day. And the funny thing is that the character that is acting is not acting the script; it's a digital copy that is acting it. So I'm just like a tangent, but like there's this AI that's currently active where they scan your digital copy and they can use that digital copy when editing to like say, okay, you need to put you flying under the carpet for this particular scene in the movie, but they don't have the physical like environment to do that, and green screen or CGI cannot do that. They just use your digital copy to make it work. It's like jazz, but guys, it works. People like Will Smith have sold access to their own digital copy, and that's one way AI will change the way movies are made. Actors don't have to spend hours, writing this or reading scripts for a certain scene or jumping off a cliff or something, except they want to do it. Like like this guy from what's that his name, Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
Except they,
Jackie Chan,
hmm but then
yeah,
they just use
yeah,
their
too.
digital copy to do that. Like that's one thing that works right now. It's just crazy. I was just reading about it recently.
Well, that's mind
I
blowing.
swear the world is changing fast in front of us.
Mm.
Yeah.
You help me.
Mm. But that's it, Sha. I don't have any.
That Hugging Face. This, I'm
You
very
see?
interested in it. Yeah, we expecting
Okay,
the link.
you can check it out. They have good stuff going on there. Yeah, I don't have any question right now. Like I've learned a ton right now. If I have questions, it's more on like what are your favorite books? Yeah, favorite quotes. Yeah, and yeah, I didn't really get like what were the things that you struggled with the most.
Okay.
In
Okay,
all your
when
journey so far.
something that comes to mind like very fast is being in the wrong space. I started like making money in tech with technical writing. I was jumping from one platform, one company to the other in terms of technical writing. So as time went on, I started gaining online presence, and this online presence I was gaining, it was all around technical writing. To the point where I sat down and then I was like, guy, I want a backend job. I am very good with backend and all of that. I want a backend job, not technical writing. It was just to make money and move on, not something that's going to be my career. Like a lot of us that were doing it, we're getting stuck in only that space. It's something that you space that you immerse yourself in, that you get stuck in for long. Like it's just intuitive. Yeah. So when I started applying for normal backend jobs, I was getting stuck. Like they would be telling me that we see that from your CV and your online presence that you are more of a technical writer than a backend person. So love to work for us as a technical writer, then we will hire you. Else, we are sorry, we can't move forward with you as there are better candidates for this particular role. So it's just dicey. Then I have to pick the technical writing role and then get even more stuck in the loop I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you just keep going
Yeah,
down, 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 down.
matrix. Yeah, so at one point in 2022, I just breathe. Is it breathe now? I just had my last breath in technical writing. I just stopped. I created another CV. I use this popular CV to roxresu.me to create resumes. So it's very easy to duplicate my existing copy of resume and then to turn off and turn on some projects, work experiences. You don't have to delete things. You just turn them off and then it will be in the original copy. I just put it on and off. I just put some things off, remove the technical item, duplicate to a new place, have a software engineering CV. From that book I mentioned earlier, by Greg Orose, it says that when you're applying to jobs, You have to write your CV afresh for each job you're applying to match the job description. I have a master copy, just like a master branch on GitHub. I have a master copy of my CV, and then I duplicate and tailor it to meet my job descriptions. So yeah, that was what I did. I stopped taking writing, created a new CV. It was empty, and I started building, working on projects, applying to jobs around that are adjacent to those projects, and then just trying to push up this thing. Okay, so generally that's one of my challenges. Like breaking out of that technical writing loop. The career that pays you, like it's a job. The job that pays you is not generally going to be uh the job that you actually want to major in. You might decide to be like a product manager, and then most of your portfolio shows UI UX and all. So you might end up getting just UI UX roles when you're actually going for a product manager role. So I'm just trying to like make it like tally with something you can relate to. So yeah, that's why I use that reference. That 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 drew me. It took a while. It took a lot of conscious effort to break out of, and then it eventually worked. And
Was money a reason?
money, as a technical writer, yes, you get paid very fast. In a week, in 2 weeks, you would get your money, and it's considerable. As at then, we were making like per article 1,500 words. You'll be seeing like $350. But but then we have to do a lot of technical writing is such that you are teaching software engineers, and to teach something, you have to know that
Yeah,
thing.
you have to know it really well to write
Yes,
about it.
exactly. Because the comment section is usually open. People will ask questions. And the people that are asking questions is not beginner, especially when the thing you're writing about is about the core technology. So platforms don't need beginner content. They need core something that brings, let's say, for example, Log Rockets, which is one popular place we were writing on. Log Rockets is they do visit like data analytics for your front end. So like the visitors that visit and all of that. So they do that's Log Rockets. They were like the articles we write, they were meant to draw developers. Is it for analytics for front end? So they are trying to draw developers to their site so that developers can discover their solution, which is a very nice business model, by the way. So when we were writing, they weren't writing for beginners, and that's what makes you sought after by platforms that are looking for technical writers. So all those things, there was money.
So, Jaco,
Yeah,
I want to ask. So, the
yeah,
time when you were trying to leave technical writing and focus on backend, like that's point, right?
yeah.
Was it that you were intentionally saying, "Omo, I don't want to do this anymore. I will stop, regardless of what happens." Like, what was the consequence of stopping? Say, "Pata pata, today I stop." Will you lose out? Say, okay, you will not have money. Like, salary will not come in again, or this will not happen. Like, what was the consequence of stopping? That you
Yes.
felt like was
The
this?
consequence of stopping is like you're transitioning from nursing. Let me paint it that way. Transitioning from nursing to maybe tech. So your nursing now, it takes your time. You put in time, and then you are maybe you have little time to be practicing the tech at home after work, which is maybe 1 or 2 hours. Ehen. So at one point now, you just like, Omo, this 1 or 2 hours I'm putting into learning tech is not going to be enough for me to fully transition into tech. Let me just stop the nursing job generally, and then try to in 1 month squeeze enough tech knowledge into myself. And then by the upper month I start applying. That's somehow what I was trying to do. And it was from there's a popular guy in the tech space, Nira Dabit, created his Web2 role so that I can have enough time to learn blockchain and then start working in the blockchain space. And he did it in quite a short amount of time. So because that model worked, that was when I realized that yeah, it's actually better to be a software engineer that does technical writing at the side than to be doing technical writing as a full time something. So it was scary because there was no means of income when I quit technical writing. I was always telling my friends that does it that guy, you are getting stuck in a loophole. Are you guys not seeing it? Because me, I'm the kind of person that once I figure out I look for a way to try to like tell others, to not be as if I'm hoarding knowledge or something. Yeah, so I was telling my friends that this thing is sucking us into deep. Let's look for a way to break out of it. And then they were like, they were comfortable in it as long as a friend will say, if it pays you, go where the money is at. If it pays you easily, just stay there. I was flowing with it at one point, but then I realized that guy, for a back end role, maybe in a month technical writing, I'll make like maybe two articles, then $700. But in a back end role, I can work a month and get paid like 3K, 4K, 5K, an entry level to intermediate role. Yes. So which one is actually profitable? Of course, it's the back end. So let me just pick that one. Yeah. So that was why I closed my mind off technical writing and then jumped, jumped like over. It was somehow. But I'm very grateful I did that thing. Because as I moved into the back end space, gigs, I was thinking that I have to like work for a long time before I would start for jobs and all of that. But it was not so, especially with the back end, the blockchain knowledge I had. Gigs were coming. You would be seeing, there's one website work, yeah.
Mm. We
They will
work.
just like assign gigs like GitHub issues to you, and then you complete them for $500, $1,000 like that. Just be doing, and then there are all these other side gigs that get it from Dwork, DEWORK.
Okay, BWRK.
Yeah. So from there,
That's very interesting because I'm also in that dilemma where I want to leave design. Like I've said before, design is oversaturated, and designers will not be needed as much as they are right now. So I want to leave design. I want to go into development myself. I think that's the way. As someone who is like I'm very much what do you call this word? Interested in things. I like to break and make things, and I can't do that with design. I like to build something, test it out to 5, 6, 10 people. If it breaks, then try new stuff. With design,
that's
I can only visually represent it, and that's the end. So I'm trying to shift into development. I'm learning Flutter, and then hopefully go into backend. Like the goal is learn Flutter, learn that well enough through Flutter, and then I can write server side code, and then move into backend in the future. I mean that dilemma that you were
yeah, I
in,
get, yeah.
that dilemma that you were in of, yeah, that's where I am right now because design is paying the bills. So if I quit my job and I'm like, oh shit, what will I do if I quit my job? Because I need the job to pay the bills, but then I don't want to do the job anymore.
You just have to, because there's no other, like, you have to probably if you are able to delegate time for the learning, your other learning, then that's fine. You know what you want, so you can like cut from sleep time. That's if you sleep at all, because myself or more. So cut from sleep time, or maybe find a way to balance things out. More there's this friend of mine that what he does is every day he knows what he wants to do. So when he wanted to transition into the blockchain space, what he did was he wrote a plan for, I think it was 2 month plan. Each day he has little tasks, very little, not very complicated, very little task. I don't know how Flutter works, but maybe today learn how to create variables in that. Tomorrow learn how to do data structures. And then by the next month, day one of next month, we build a button with that. And then like very simple task, but he broke them down in a way that it will not, you'll be learning, you'll be building actively, but you are not consuming much time, not up to even an hour itself from your normal daily stuff, because that guy is a nurse and he's a very strong front end. He does front end and back end, but a full stack guy, but he works like his range is very mad. So he works daytime as a nurse, and then afterwards he works freelance gigs on front end and back end. So it works for him generally. That model works for him like very well. Yeah, you could also try that
Yeah.
too.
I've been doing something similar where in the morning I spend like from 9 I wake up like 8:30. So from 8:30 9, I spend till like 12 just from Flutter. That's what I do. Sometimes I don't. I once it's 12, I just stop. But some days I just get weak. Some days I don't. I give myself 6 months. At the end of this year, if I have not gotten it, I have failed. So and I don't want to fail. So I will also take into consideration what you just said. Maybe I will do that for reading articles for Flutter development. So I'll just spend like an hour reading about how buttons work, maybe 2 hours reading about like an hour or 30 minutes reading about how buttons, another article on how variables work, another article on like maybe I think that's what I would do. I'll use this model you just explained to me in reading about it. Anyways, thank you.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, you're winding up. So books, inspiration, like what are your inspirations? Like people who inspire you, and then books that like you enjoy, that you
Okay.
like the most.
I'm still very much like in touch with the guy that brought me in tech. Like we have this very close connection now. And because like yeah, I didn't forget him. We just kept talking and we actually work gigs together too. So yeah, he's a very big inspiration to me. I don't when I want to like pick new technologies, I feels like asking that this is what I want to pick. Oh, is it okay? How do you see it? Because you might be doing something I think is the right thing. When somebody that has more experience with you, obviously know that that's a wrong thing or something. So I always ask him questions. Still, even as much as I know, I still ask questions. That and then another inspiration is yeah, and there's this guy Kelsey Aitoa that I always like. I listen to his podcast. He's the founder of. I think he was the maintainer of Kubernetes, a tool that we're using in the cloud native space. So I always like follow his speeches and then about books, oh my god, it will be very difficult to pick a popular book, a favorite book. But one,
Don't it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be popular.
I mean,
Yeah,
favorite
let it just be the one you enjoy. Give me two.
too.
Two, the most influential books you've read that like you've read it and your life just you've always gone back to like things you read from that book. The most influential book in your life. Two.
Yeah, one of them is the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I quoted that book multiple times in this recording, this session. Almanac of Naval. It is very good. It's Naval. The guy's handle on Twitter is at NAVAL. But that book is just like a compendium of all his tweets. So that book is very good, especially for people in tech or people considering media. Then secondly, The Alchemist. I use that book as the entry test questions for my book club because it's very, very, very nice. It talks about like a young person figuring out life, finding their personal legend.
Nice. That's good. That's good. My own is number one. Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. There are two Ryan Holiday books anyway. Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday. I love that book. And then the second one is Obstacle is the Way. Um, those are two Ryan Holiday's books I love. If I ever get the mind to get a tattoo, what I'll put on my hand is Ego is the Enemy and then Obstacle is the Way. When I started making money in tech, like when I started making money, that I was like, okay, this is much money than I would expect or that the people around me could make. I went straight to Ego is the Enemy and I started reading that book. Just because when you start making money compared to people around you, there's a certain kind of ego that comes with it. It's subconscious, it's conscious, it just comes around. And like having that book just helped my mind overall. And up to now, I still go back to read that book and like, that book is amazing. Obstacle is the Way is also a beautiful book. So Obstacle is the Way is like facing like obstacles head on, regardless of where they are coming from anybody, whatever they are. Like basically stories or stoic stories of people in the past, present, business partners, people that are like how they've been able to face obstacles head on. Like companies that are during the Great Depression, they started and they still rose, like using the obstacle as the way rather than just saying, oh, I'm faced with this challenge and I'm just going to stop. Those are two favorite books. I'm still reading Obstacle is the Way. You know, I've read Ego is the Enemy. I want to read it again. For me, those are my two that I always mention. So for people listening, thank you for listening this long. That's all. That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for listening all through the episode. It was a really long one. And if you did, I really appreciate it. Don't forget to let me know what you think. If you like long episodes like this, if you watched it in bits and pieces, doesn't really matter. Just let me know in the comments. and the description in Spotify what you think, or reach out to me on any social media platform. I really appreciate that. Anyways, the next episode is with Tolu from BCB. I have said a lot about him in the middle of the pod. However, I think it's worth listening to, because my lessons from this is your environment can define who you become. However, you have a bigger role to play in that definition of who you become. And that's one of the lessons I learned from Tolu on this episode. So you can subscribe to know when the episode comes out. And yeah, it's episode 28. See you on the next one. Bye. Peace. And as you have listened, may you be blessed.